You might leave this church today either feeling guilty over your wealth or blasting someone else for their wealth because you think that, well, riches equals sin. That's not, and what happens is you are throwing away one religion, your religion of wealth, for another religion, a religion of good works. And what James is telling us to do is don't throw out your wealth, throw out your religion. Throw out your religion. So you who are wealthy here this morning, James isn't saying, give it all away right now and because it's sinful. Now, Jesus might ask you to do that, and the question is, will you obey? What James is saying is it your religion? And if it is, throw out your religion. And I think that's an important distinction because I think Christians, what we try to do is we jump from one religion to the next. And that's the danger with James, jumping from one religion to the next. This happens when you become a Christian. I remember in the 1970s, 60s, 80s, and 90s moving forward, we added a sacrament to the church. We have baptism and the Lord's Supper. We added another one. When you became a Christian, you were to observe the first sacrament of throwing out all of your rock music tapes. How many of you have ever done that before? You did it when you became a Christian, and then when you backslid to, Led Zeppelin, you went on a Christian retreat, and you're like, oh, I got to go home and throw out my tapes again. And it was kind of this religious thing of throwing out your tapes. Remember all the backward masking they used to put in there? Parenthetically, I used to think about that. Why would Led Zeppelin need to backward mask? What they're saying forwards is bad enough. The Christians are just weird, man. But anyway, you had to go and throw out all your rock tapes. You had to go out and throw out all your rock musics. Now, for you iPod generation people, there were these things called, cassette tapes and CDs and 8-track tapes. And before that, I think or somewhere in there was vinyl. Older people remember vinyl. Today, some of you older people still swear that it sounds better than a CD. It sounds great. I mean, the crackling of the record is incredible. But when you became a Christian, you had to throw all that stuff out. That was the sacrament. And we added a couple sacraments to that. Stop dancing, no more cigarettes, no more tattoos, no more drinking alcohol. Ladies, you got to wear the clothes that are, down to your, you got to walk on your dress. You can't even show your feet. Walk on the dress. And we came up with all these guys had to cut their hair. If you went to Bob Jones University, I think you had to cut your hair. It wasn't allowed to be long or you were from the pit of hell. And today we're all going to hell sitting here as I look out among this congregation here this morning, just by the way you're dressed. And those were the sacraments. Those were the holy sacraments. And here's the funny thing is that I have something revolutionary to tell you, you people who threw out your Led Zeppelin and your Cure and your U2, you wasted your money. And you shouldn't have thrown them out because that was some pretty good music. I think you would agree with me. Because see, back then you had to trade in Led Zeppelin for maybe like Keith Green. And Keith Green's pretty good, but he ain't no Led Zeppelin. And then you had to trade in Madonna, for those of you who were even listening to them, for Amy Grant. And then when Amy Grant wore leopard pants on one of her CDs and divorced her husband, all of a sudden the Christian world was in a conundrum. And why do we do these stupid things? Because we're religious. We think that somehow if I don't listen to Led Zeppelin any longer, or if I don't listen to The Cure any longer, or to U2, or insert your own favorite band in there, we think that somehow those things in and of themselves are inherently evil. And here's the thing, what's inherently evil is us. We pervert things. God is Lord of everything. James is not telling us to throw out our wealth. What he's telling you to do is throw out your religion.